For thousands of Indian seafarers, the most dangerous 21 miles on earth isn't a battlefield. It's a strip of water they have to cross just to do their jobs. In the summer of 2026, the Strait of Hormuz became a death trap. This is the story of why Indian sailors have become casualties in a shadow war they have never signed up for. The crisis began on February 28, 2026, when the US and Israel launched a massive air war against Iran. In retaliation, Iran unleashed chaos on the seas, attacking commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. By March 1st, the tanker Skylight with an Indian and Iranian crew was attacked near Oman, injuring 4. Just days later, another Indian sailor was killed when a wooden dough caught fire in the strait. These weren't isolated incidents. They were the start of a brutal pattern that has turned these vital waters into a hunting ground, with Indian seafarers caught directly in the crosshairs. So why is all this happening? First, you have to understand the geography. The Persian Gulf is basically a massive bathtub holding about a fifth of the world's daily oil supply. And the Strait of Hormuz, it's the only drain, a tiny choke point just 21 miles wide. For decades, the story of this strait has been about oil and warships. The United States has always vowed to protect the freedom of navigation here, while Iran sees the waterway as its own backyard. This disagreement has simmered for years, but in 2026, it's finally boiled over. After the US and Israeli strikes began on February 28, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, retaliated by declaring the strait off limits, laying mines, and attacking merchant ships. By early April, the US responded with its own naval blockade of Iranian ports, creating what some called a dual blockade. Suddenly, commercial shipping became the front line. And who was caught squarely in the middle? The civilian crews. India is a global powerhouse of maritime labor, supplying a huge number of seafarers to the world's merchant fleet. So when the Iran's attacks on the shipping began, Indian nationals were disproportionately the ones on the receiving end. By mid-July, at least 15 seafarers had been killed in the escalating conflict, many of them Indian. In one case, an Indian maritime engineer, Hiram Kirmakar, was killed when his vessel was hit by a projectile off the coast of Oman. Iranian authorities claimed that the ship had ignored warnings and was using an unauthorized route. For the families of the dead and the thousands of sailors stranded in the Gulf, these justifications mean very little. The Indian government has had to facilitate the repatriation of thousands of its stranded seafarers and has lodged protests with Iran over the attacks. But with the US and Iran locked in a cycle of escalation, Iran attacks a ship, the US launches retaliatory strikes, and the blockade tightens. The sailors remain soft targets. Attacking a commercial tanker is a way for Iran to inflict economic pain and send a powerful message without directly engaging the US Navy.
3 commercial ships have been hit by unidentified projectiles near the Strait of Hormuz.
These Indian seafarers aren't soldiers. They are civilians caught in a deadly geopolitical game. Their ships have become targets and their lives collateral damage. So, as the crisis continues, the world's economy hangs on the fragile piece in this narrow waterway. The major powers, the US and Iran, are trapped in a cycle of retaliation, with the June ceasefire agreement functionally suspended after fresh attacks in July. And the men and women who crew the ship that fuel our world, especially those from India, are the ones paying the ultimate price. The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz forces us to ask a difficult question. At what human cost are we willing to secure the global flow of oil? And as their citizens continue to be sacrificed, what will nations like India be forced to do next? If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe for more deep dives into the critical geopolitical stories shaping our world. And let us know in the comments what you think the future holds for the Strait of Hormuz. I'm your host Z, and I'll see you in the next video.